DSP Stanky managed to shoot his way into popularity in ways that almost everyone interested in streaming or YouTube wishes they could emulate. One reason why he became such a huge sensation beyond just his unique Lucio playstyle was the fact that he started off on the console version of Overwatch and then shattered everyone's PC elitist opinions on how much he would suck on a computer by peaking in top 500. But he is not the only one who has done this transition between platforms. Another such YouTuber, called Arikadou, made a video about his experience doing so with Hanzo. It shows some awesome gameplay along with some of the reactions he gets from those on the other team. A common reaction is to call Arikadou a smurf, in which he replies saying that he's not a smurf, he just migrated from console. This got me thinking about what it means to be a smurf and what defines it. But before I could start thinking about smurfing, I had to set up some background as to why people want to smurf and how it came to be. I began this thought process with progression. In any game that has some form of progression, players might go back and play through the game again to see what other options are available for them to experience. Some games make that their selling point by crafting multiple endings and having elaborate skill trees that cannot be filled out even when at max level. RPGs and MMOs use this to their advantage by letting players have multiple characters so the player can tailor each one to a certain playstyle. By limiting how much a player can do in one character, the game can make the player spend more time thinking about how they want to play the game even when they are out doing other things in their life. Companies can use this as a way of making money through microtransactions or DLC by setting a limit on how many characters can be made on each account. This forces players to either pay or have multiple accounts. But when it comes to competitive games like League of Legends, CSGO, or Overwatch, progression is measured by players' skill and/or a leveling system. The leveling system in competitive games are used mostly to measure how much raw time a player has spent playing the game. Those who have just started are low level, while those who have sunk hundreds if not thousands of hours into playing the game have a fancy border or an intricate symbol. Because the level displayed on a player's profile does not always reflect a person's skill, a new system must be made to keep track of a player's ability. Since games are made entirely on functions, an ELO system is easy to implement and after multiple samples starts to show an accurate placing in a player's skill. Each game has their own way of portraying this ranking to its players, through divisions and subdivisions. As people keep ranking higher and higher into their respective ELO system, they keep going against those who are also around their current ranking. This makes the ranking system always more challenging and difficult to overcome, resulting in an interesting battle every time, so long as the system works. Climbing the ELO ladder is just another form of progression, but what happens if a person wants to restart from scratch? Do they press a button on screen and just become unranked and then proceed through their placement matches all over again? Or maybe delete their save files, that way the game never knows that it was played before? Reinstall the game? Defrag their hard drive? First, we should think about what it means for someone to gain some progression, lose record of it, and then try again. In the case of a single player game, it means all items, levels, and story already seen go back to a new beginning. A pain in the ass if it was done by accident. But why is it a pain? Can't the player just keep playing and reach the section they left off at? Of course the player can, but they still remember what they have done in this part before. They remember where the monsters spawn, their attack moves, their patterns. They know what items spawn where and how to get the best deal from the shopkeep. They retain their experience. But just because a game no longer has memory of what has been done in the past does not mean that the player cannot remember. And when the scenario is brought into a competitive game, the level may say 0, but they can still outperform anyone in that lobby. Generally, people call those who do this on purpose smurfs. But where did smurfing come from and what sparked the need for players to do it in the first place? And why call the players smurfs anyways? Allegedly, the first well-known case of smurfing was recorded all the way back in the Warcraft 2 era. 2 Warcraft players became so proficient at the game that the entire community began avoiding them in-game, resulting in these 2 players having to wait a long time before being able to play even a single game. Since their in-game names are famous, they got 2 new accounts and named them Papa Smurf and Smurfette. They then proceeded to pretend to be new players, and once they got into a game, they just destroyed everyone. So the Smurf theme stuck for those who pretended to be at a lower skill than what they actually are. Whether the story is true, it does highlight a legitimate reason for how Smurfing came to be. After tons of practice, people can almost become inhuman at a game, being able to win almost all the time and pull maneuvers that people can only dream of trying. Once other people begin to spread the word of these godly players, Those at the top can then become isolated and almost forced out of the game's community. Their only option if they want to continue playing something they enjoy is to don a disguise and start all over again. Fast forward to modern gaming, and smurfing is now more prominent in competitive games. But would Arikadou be counted as a smurf? He reset all of his progression that he earned playing on console back to a new account on PC. No more cosmetics, golden guns, levels, or his competitive rank transferred over to the new platform. But when compared to the alleged first smurfs and what most people will unanimously agree is the worst reason to smurf, he does not fit the bill entirely. He did not start his new account with the idea of playing against people lower than his actual skill, at least when you look at how much he plays competitive and how much effort he puts into his videos. But he still has one key thing that makes playing against smurfs so annoying: his knowledge of the game and skill. He knows perfectly well how every hero works, how the maps flow, and what makes a good team comp. Switching platforms does not mean that his game sense leaves, just the way he controls his hero. No more 360-degree movement and ergonomic controllers. Now he must use only 4 directions for walking, and a device that needs multiple peripherals to bring the most out of it. Seriously. Mousepad drivers, the correct ports, and if your brand of mouse doesn't come with DPI software, then even more software scavenged from the internet that only has one purpose, but is required if you want to have the best Norton anti-malware clicker adventure experience. Oh, but bored, monotonous YouTuber who takes way too long to make a simple video on ideas you had bouncing around in your head for an entire month with the script already planned out? Switching your controls means that his skills don't transfer over to PC. Bullfucking shit it does. The thing about mouse and keyboard controls is that it's extremely easy to pick up. Just think about how easy the XP comes in the first 20 levels of Overwatch. I'm gonna use some overly simplified math here. The total XP needed to reach level 20, the lowest level Arikadou shows in his console to PC video, is 220.5 thousand XP. Given an extremely conservative XP per game of 1.2 thousand, it would take him 184 games to reach level 20. Oh golly, that's a lot! Not if each match is 12 minutes, which is somewhat of a weird number due to each game mode theoretically lasting longer, ignoring infinite overtime. So, 2.208 thousand minutes or 36.8 hours, you can see just how much overestimation and conservative numbers here ruins data. Arikadou finally reached level 20. But just for reference on how completely fucked this estimate is, I'm level 132. And my total playtime is around 90 hours with a mix of quick play and competitive. This shows how much first win of the day, 1.5 thousand XP or an entire game, along with group/consecutive matches help boost people's XP game. In reality, it probably took him around 8 to 12, if not less, hours in-game to reach that level, or around 2 to 6 days depending on how much he played each day. But even still, after 8 hours of doing the same thing, there must be some improvement on how well you can perform that task. So, is your point valid, cynical, imaginary commenter? Yeah, but Arikadou cut out all the boring part of him learning how to use the controls properly, and if compared to somebody who just started playing Overwatch on the computer, he vastly outplays them. Arikadou already knew how Hanzo's arrows work and where he needs to aim. Getting that muscle memory to transfer over to the new control scheme is the only practice he needed. Based on all this information, I declare that Arikadou is a smurf and needs to be banned from every game he tries to play. Wait a minute, I play GTA 5 on both my PlayStation 4 and PC, along with Battlefield Hardline, Call of Duty, Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, and more games that I cannot think of right now. I hereby declare myself also banned from all video games as well for being a smurf. Well shit, I guess playing a game on multiple platforms means you're a smurf and deserve to get banned. Is Arikadou actually a smurf? Maybe? Yes? Personally, I would count changing platforms to be a form of smurfing, and the act of starting over, even in a competitive game, does not bother me. It's what the smurfers do with their newfound freedom is what causes the problems. Queuing up with a lower ranked friend to boost them does annoy me. Smurfing just to pub stomp or troll annoys me. Pretty much smurfing and then not trying to get back to where you were before is what gives smurfs a bad reputation and annoys me. These are the people who ruin games that no one wants to play with, which is why people are so afraid of playing with/against smurfs. And those accused of it deny it even if they truly are smurfing. Sorry Arikadou, I just exposed you for being a filthy smurf. Awesome music by the way. Thanks for watching.